What's going on, guys? It's your boy the Markham Knight here. Today's video is going to be all about Zack Snyder's Justice League, and this one's going to be part 2 of 7 of my breakdown of this movie, and this is going to be based on Chapter 2, The Age of Heroes. So let's get right into it. We start off with Steppenwolf, and he's in Russia. There's a city that has a high level of toxicity due to radiation, but this is a good thing for him, so he built his stronghold here. And then he sends out his parademons to go find the other 2 mother boxes. So the next thing we see is Alfred, and he's giving Bruce some nuggets of his wisdom. Essentially what he wants to say is that despite Lex Luthor saying that there's going to be an attack on Earth since Superman has died, there's been nothing done yet, doesn't mean it's going to come to fruition, there's nobody at the gates. Now, Bruce counters with, maybe they're not at the gates because they're already here. And obviously we know that Bruce is being proactive and he's actually right about this, but Alfred's just kind of trying to be the reasonable one in the situation. Next thing we get to see is in Star Labs, there are some abductions. The parademons take the janitor and they take some of the other scientists and stuff, and this is because they smell the scent of the mother box, so they went there looking for it. They couldn't find it, so they took all these people because they need people to interrogate. And we also get introduced to Silas Stone, who's Victor Stone's dad. He's the #1 top scientist there. And then we also get introduced to Ryan Choi. For those of you who don't know who Ryan Choi is, he is the Atom. He's actually the second person who becomes the Atom in the comic books. Now, the Atom is basically like DC's Ant-Man. He's someone who can shrink in size and get really large in size. And Ryan Choi is the second person to become the Atom, but we haven't seen Ray Palmer in this universe, so maybe he's going to be the Atom for this universe. Now the next big thing that we see is the Amazons in Themyscira. They send out the arrow of Artemis. Now, for those of you who don't know who Artemis is the Greek goddess of the hunt. And they shoot her arrow into man's world to light a fire in the Temple of Amazons. It's a shrine to Amazons in man's world. And then Diana sees it, and it's to give her a warning that there's going to be an invasion. And Diana does go to investigate that, and once she goes to the temple, she goes down there and she sees basically not necessarily hieroglyphics, but she sees pictures and stuff of Darkseid there, and she learns of Darkseid's history with Earth. The next thing that we get to see is a little bit of Silas Stone and Victor Stone's relationship, Cyborg and his dad, and obviously he created Cyborg. Well, he made him the cyborg that he is, so obviously Cyborg doesn't have a great relationship with him. He resents him for it. He, I think, would have been happier to have died instead of being kind of this, he calls quote-unquote monster, but yeah, he obviously blames his dad for that, even though he was on the verge of death. Now the next thing we get to see is Aquaman's side, and Aquaman saves somebody, someone's boat that's going down. He saves them and he takes them back to the town, and then he goes and he visits Atlan's throne. When he's visiting Atlan's throne, we get to meet Vulko for the first time. Now, Vulko was in the Aquaman movie. He is Aquaman's mentor, and essentially he kind of tries to train him and bring him back to take the kingship away from his brother, his half-brother Orm. And obviously we get to see him here trying to push Aquaman into that, but Aquaman doesn't want to have any part of it. And he gives him his mom's trident and says to take the mantle, but obviously Aquaman doesn't want to do that right now. So the next thing that we get to see is Steppenwolf is still in his stronghold, and he's speaking to Desaad. And Desaad is on Apocalypse, but he creates this kind of like an astral projection, but it's not an astral projection. He just projects his body into that space, and he's speaking to Steppenwolf, and we get to see a little bit of Steppenwolf's motivation here. So Desaad mentions that Steppenwolf is family to Darkseid. For those of you who don't know, Steppenwolf is Darkseid's uncle in the comic books, but he betrayed Darkseid here, so now he owes Darkseid a debt. And Darkseid said, Desaad said he owes Darkseid another 50,000 worlds. So once he gets him those 50,000 worlds, then they'll start to listen to his plea to be able to go back to Apocalypse and be there with them. So the key for Steppenwolf right now is to get the other 2 mother boxes together, unite those 3 mother boxes, which is going to shift, basically terraform the Earth for Darkseid's arrival. Now then we finally get to see a little more detail of this kind of stuff, because Wonder Woman basically has this whole big section of exposition that she gives of what happened during the Darkseid War. She starts explaining it to Bruce and explains that Darkseid was here before. This is not the first time Earth has faced an invasion. Now this took place thousands of years ago, and believe it or not, even though she uses the word dark side, this is not yet dark side fully realized. This is Euxis. For those of you who don't know the difference, Euxis is basically dark side before he got his ultimate Omega effect and his godlike powers. Euxis, he basically killed his dad and took like the ownership of being the leader of the new gods by replacing the old gods. But before that, he was not nearly to the level of power that he was before. But we get to see him throw down here. Darkseid and his army throw down against Zeus, against Ares, against Artemis, who, mind you, all three of them look amazing. We also get to see them with the Green Lantern, Yalin Gur. For those of you who don't know who Yalin Gur, the Green Lantern, is, he's basically the Green Lantern back in the 10th century. So this was obviously a long time ago in the comic books. So in the comic books, he's the Green Lantern of the 10th century, and he is responsible for Earth, but he does get corrupted. Obviously, none of that kind of goes on here because he's killed in this scene, and this is an epic battle here. We get to see we get to see the armies of the Amazons, the Atlanteans, and the humans working together with these three Greek gods and battling it out with Darkseid's army, and basically Ares is able to not only penetrate Darkseid's skin, but get right into his shoulder, and Artemis shoots him, and Zeus blasts him with lightning, and basically they're able to get rid of Darkseid and incapacitate Euxis at this level. Like I said, he's not fully realized. In the comic books, Euxis is able to, he's Zeus level or higher. He's able to hold his own against any of the top gods in like the whole thing. So obviously this is not Darkseid fully realized yet. But they take Euxis down, and this is the only world in all of Darkseid's history that was able to stop him from getting what he wanted. And then basically Wonder Woman tells Batman that we need to do something to kind of stop this. The Age of Heroes is done, and then Batman says the Age of Heroes will come again, it has to, and then Wonder Woman asks, where are the others? And then that's where we end. So guys, this was another great part. There were another couple of epic things there. The epic battle between Darkseid and his army, or at least Euxis and his army, against Zeus and Artemis. Artemis, I already said, is the goddess of the hunt. Zeus is king of the gods, of the Greek gods, and then Ares is god of war. So obviously these are some high-level gods, and they also teamed up with the Green Lantern, Amazons, Atlanteans, humans, and all these guys work together just to fight back Euxis and his army. And now we get to see Steppenwolf in here. So like I said, it's a really cool setup, and it kind of gives you some background into everything. We also get to know Steppenwolf's motivations in here, and it makes him a lot more of a fleshed out character. So not only is he menacing, but you get to understand kind of his side of it and why he's doing all this stuff. But guys, you watch this, or if you haven't watched it, you at least watch my breakdown. Tell me what you think.
This is the Markham Knight, and I need you to like, comment, and subscribe.